Dan's like, can we just not bring up Snyder for one podcast?
How are you?
Hey.
Good to see you.
Fantastic.
Nice to meet you.
Greetings. Hi, how's it going, everybody?
Yes.
Very nice to see you all.
Welcome back, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Welcome back,
man.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's
Welcome back
great
to
to see you guys.
Friendly Neighborhood Fanboys podcast.
Yes.
I'm Alex.
I'm Reese.
I'm Ben.
And I am Daniel.
One hand Dan.
Yeah.
Captain Hook. Castaway.
And here we go.
The Winter Soldier himself.
Yeah.
Missing an arm.
I wish it was that cool.
But before we get into this talk, if you could please hit that like button, it really, really does help us out. It helps more people see our videos. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you like our podcast or if you like our reaction content and our review content. So,
Subscribe if you like superheroes.
yeah. Yeah. Or like sci-fi or like just nerds talking about shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Subscribe if you liked Wakanda Forever.
We should just dive right into it right away. Very
Guys.
obvious topic today.
We have, big movie that we have to discuss.
Yeah.
Birds of Prey.
Yeah. So, guys,
Just right.
today
White
we're gonna
lion.
be we're gonna be giving our spoiler-filled review of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I don't really know how else to go into this movie. So I don't know. Someone start.
Go in just firm and rigid.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, I mean, like, okay.
That's what my
like,
daddy always uses.
Calls the rigid ghost.
right before the camera started, Dan, you were talking about how you don't like looking at like information, reviews, stuff like that ahead of time, but you do anyway.
Yeah,
Right?
I didn't know where that was going for a second.
Yeah, I was like,
No, it wasn't a joke.
I saw the worry in your eyes.
what the fuck? Okay, I thought we were giving a movie review here.
No,
Okay.
it wasn't a joke. It wasn't a joke. I feel bad last podcast because of the whole boots on the ground thing.
No, it's
So
all
I'm
good.
gonna take it a little easier on Dan.
I was preparing
today.
like a boots on the ground counter for today. I was mentally, but
It'll come up for sure because
100%, yeah.
there's not really boots on the ground combat in this movie, but
No,
there's some
sandals
boots
in
in
the
the
sky
sand.
and-
Yeah, there's like
And, there's-
sandals on the dirt.
Yeah.
skin in the water.
Sandals
as
in the
well.
sky.
There's wings on the ankles kind of
Yeah,
combat
yes.
in this movie. But no, like I just want to bring this up just to kind of start because we have a different perspective because like you researched a little bit the movie before. I didn't even watch the trailers before. I had no idea what the movie was going to be about. I didn't see nothing.
Same with this one.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
which is
okay.
why I loved it so much. So like
Okay.
I wanted to say like the whole like I watched one trailer and there was like
love
the
the
one that
movie.
like that first trailer that came out, but I'm like I think I enjoyed this movie so much more because like there I can literally go down a list of all the movies that I've done like a fucking like extensive amount of looking into and watching like theories about, and then like by that point everything is just like there's nothing that can really surprise you because like everything that could potentially happen has been theorized
Yeah.
and whatever, so you become like not really excited. You're just kind of waiting to see which one was right. Versus this
Or
is
which
like
one you want the most.
yeah, exactly. And then you like put this idea in your head of what you want the movie to be, and when it's not that or it is that, it's like you either you walk out disappointed every time. This movie, I just watched that first trailer and I was like really intrigued about it, and I was like, especially with all the things going on behind the scenes, like I was just like, okay, this is gonna be a very intriguing movie. Like I'm very excited to see how they pull this off. And I left the movie like literally like with my jaw dropped. I was like, holy fuck! Like,
Me too.
This movie was fucking sick.
It was amazing.
Yeah, like
it was amazing.
Like right off the bat, like one of the best Marvel movies they've put out in the last couple of years. Like honestly, I would even go as far as to say it's like up there with Spider-Man: No Way Home, if not a little bit better. I don't know. I would go. That's a big push for me. But.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, well, I was when I left the movie theater. The first thought I had was like, well, I didn't have any thoughts. I just kind of like left. I was just like, I was shook after I left. I was like, holy shit! Like that was that was amazing. I think it's definitely one of the like easily one of if not the best movie of the phase.
That I
Of
agree
this
with.
current phase.
Easily. Yeah,
Huge amount of content we've got in this phase.
I was gonna say,
Really good.
I don't know if
Not to
that's a
take
good
not to take
comparison or
away from the
criteria,
movie.
Yeah.
Not to take away from it.
She-Hulk or anything.
Oh yeah, just
No,
so
like-
inspiring.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite Marvel films ever. Period. Just period.
This movie actually, like what I appreciated about it was it actually felt like there was care put behind it.
Yeah.
Like it actually like felt like they cared about this project. It didn't seem like just another like one of the standard cookie cutter. Okay, here's Marvel movie. You know, check the box kind of thing. Like it definitely had some like Marvel-y things in it, but for the most part, I would say like this was like one that stood out. That there was like okay, there was a lot of time put into it, a lot of care. The actors were like giving their 100%. Like it just felt like every aspect of the movie was really like had a lot of effort put into it.
Beautifully shot.
Yes, very
Eh?
nicely
That
shot.
was one of the things that jumped out at me, especially well, first, like you gotta start off with like T'Challa's funeral at the beginning
Yeah.
of the movie
fucked me up.
was one of the most emotional things I've ever seen in a comic book movie. Like I was like seriously choked up. Like watching it, it was fucked.
With-
Like, beautiful.
So one thing I gotta preface first, just to get this out of the way. Reese hasn't seen this movie,
I'm just sitting here like,
Yeah.
yes.
but he is okay with us spoiling the shit out of
Yeah.
it, and has read the synopsis. I know, spoil it, but
Yeah.
just so we can have some.
Yeah.
It's
We
almost
want-
better that you haven't in a way, because then we can like explain things to you. So then
Yeah, no, like I was
hopefully
gonna
fire
say,
you up.
I'm excited
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
it. The
it'll
way you
hope-
guys are talking about is making me pumped up.
It's just life
Without it
on the
being
way,
like
right? Like, you
what
know.
Dan was saying, where you go into it like having all these
Yeah.
theories. Like you guys are actually just making me excited for it by being passionate about it, because I know we all have very similar tastes when it comes to movies and superhero movies. So it's like I'm looking forward to it.
for sure.
Bro, the way the movie starts,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so
that's what I was just gonna say
Yeah,
after.
go
Is
ahead.
like the funeral was sad, yes, but what got to me the most in the beginning was the Marvel
Yeah.
Studios
Oh
like
my
slate
God.
at the beginning.
It was silent.
okay,
Dead
so
silent.
yeah, you know how the Marvel slate is all the heroes?
Yeah,
It's just
Dead
It's just
silence.
him,
It's
but
only
silence.
clips of T'Challa.
and it was
purple.
so
It was
powerful
purple. Yeah.
that like
purple.
I even like I just scanned like the theater I was in quickly, and just like everyone was just like bawling at
Yeah,
that point.
Bro, it was so
So I was
powerful.
just like, wow, like, it was
so
that was
powerful. It
intense.
beautiful. Yeah.
And then hard cut, it's T'Challa's death scene. So it's focused on Shuri, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's in her science lab trying to synthesize a cure for an illness that T'Challa is,
Dealing with.
is suffering, but he's
Yeah.
off screen the entire time. Obviously,
I'm so happy. Sorry to interject.
no,
but I'm
no.
so happy they didn't
Yeah, I
do
was
like a
gonna-
Disney
Yes.
CG of him.
Yes.
Like, I
I
was
was gonna
waiting
ask
to
you if
cut
you-
to him,
Yeah,
and
no.
I'm
They did
so
that.
fucking happy they didn't.
Good.
Do
No,
that.
it probably
Yeah.
hit harder that way.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
you don't see him. They don't even really spend a whole lot of time on like what he's dying from. It's just there is an illness, and that's the thing. I like how it was an illness that he was dying from instead of, oh hey, your brother died in this combat.
He never came
situation.
back from Thanos' snap. or
Boom, whatever,
yeah.
right? Like, you know,
It was
it's,
very
it's,
meta in a way, because they were like acknowledging what actually happened without.
Yeah, which is
actually
kind of nice
touching on
though.
it.
It's like,
yeah, it's a
I
good,
mean,
it's a good
obviously-
tribute.
Sorry, that sounded weird. It's not nice that it.
Yeah,
But it's
I
just
know what you
nice
mean.
that they were like acknowledging it, like you said.
100%.
And then
Yeah.
like there's a really nice payoff at the beginning of the movie. Like I'm gonna cut to the end of it, but like the payoff at the beginning is Shuri's trying to synthesize a cure last minute, and
Which
we
is
find
the
out
heart-shaped herb.
The heart-shaped herb.
yeah, we find out at the
Yeah.
end that that's what she's trying to like give him more of the heart-shaped herb, and then she
Yeah.
finds a synthesis. That's her whole arc, and she becomes a Black Panther from
Yeah.
finding the
Yeah.
synthesis. Anyways, continue.
no, it was just like, and it's a heartbreaking scene. Like from what I remember, there was no music in it. Like it was just like the sound of like the lab and like all that shit.
All
And then
handheld cam.
all handheld, like very like
So you're
there
like,
was
you're in it basically.
you were
Yeah.
in it. There was
Yeah.
a sense of urgency and
It's like an ER scene, essentially.
yeah. And then you hear like, you know, she doesn't get to it in time. You hear that he passes, and it's just like it's heartbreaking. And what I found about that scene and carrying on into like how they remember him and reference him throughout the movie, it feels very it's like it's commentating on itself, right? I've never felt a movie really like this where it's there's like a subtext to everything where it's like these characters are going through a loss, but then it's also you can tell that it's the actors, it's the crew, it's the writers, it's Ryan Coogler, like it's
Yeah.
It's a grieving process through filmmaking.
yes,
right?
yes,
100%.
And you know they don't break the fourth wall or anything or nothing like that, but like it's you can very much tell that they are grieving with these characters, and I just thought it was beautifully done, beautifully written, beautifully performed, and I've never really felt that in a movie that I can remember, especially
Yeah.
not even like a comic book movie, like you know, like to say the least, right? But like
I want to say like I think the most powerful performance of the movie. Like I was like on the edge of my seat.
Angela Bassett,
Yep.
Yes.
Christ, so fucking good,
Dude, when she's going off and like like the UN scene was fucking badass.
Oh,
When
bro.
it's like cutting.
Sick.
So it's kind of, so essentially what's happening in this scene is like so Wakanda's being like having like they're being lectured in or like they're being criticized in a UN meeting saying hey like you guys have like been
Should
off the
share
grid.
your
Vibranium.
Yeah. It's like what's to say that like you guys aren't going to use as a weapon of mass destruction to use against the rest of the world while
Sounds
she's
about
like
right.
and then it's like France criticizing them I think or whoever it was.
Meanwhile, it's cutting to France raiding a Wakandan lab.
Yeah.
And
Trying to
like
steal
trying to get the vibranium, and then
Just like it's so I got chills when like so they're in this lab and like they're like telling the scientists to get down. They're like, oh, like where are the tools like to mine the vibranium? And like the one scientist points at this door and then like open it. They finally open it and shit, and it's just darkness, and they're like like, what the fuck? It's
kinda like a
And you hear like,
yeah.
and then like all the Dora come out of the shadows and start fucking destroying everyone in there. Like simultaneously going back to her in the UN lecturing everyone on like, it's not us you should be afraid of, like we're keeping it to ourselves so you guys don't fucking take it and make weapons.
Yeah.
And so like they're
amazing.
lecturing them. It's like we need, like Wakanda needs to work together the rest of the world so we can maintain peace. And then she's like, you want to maintain peace? And then she like ushers in the Wakandans bring the French soldiers that raided the base into the fucking UN, and you're seeing like the UN representative of France being like, Jesus Christ, like,
you guys fucked it,
and then and Angela like her performance the entire movie,
good.
Amazing.
Like when she's going off about like my entire family is gone, and she's like I'm the queen of the most powerful nation in the world, and I have no family. Like, and she's like, and it's, I'm literally there just like, holy shit, man! Wow, this is powerful,
deep.
Bro. She was turned up to 11 the entire movie.
Oh
like,
man, like
it was
her
insane.
performance was like definitely like the standout of the movie for me, in my personal opinion. Like, and then like I also like want to talk about like I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher the name, so for the sake of ease of talking about it, I'm gonna call them Atlanteans because they're
Thalokans?
Yes, I'm essentially They were horrifying
Yes.
in the best way
in the
possible.
best way.
Yeah, the beginning scene. Oh my god!
So I am
amazing.
very scared of like one of my biggest fears is like deep water and like darkness and not being able to see. And they really fucking dig into the fact that they're like they're hunters under the water, and like it's like the same kind of like nighttime fucking raid scene, and like you just hear them like you see them like kind of poke out from the water, and then all of a sudden like there's a siren song.
Yeah, there's like
a siren song. Yeah,
like a soothing siren song. and you hear like it's like very eerie and shit. And like first you think like, oh, it's just the score.
It went from non-diegetic sound to diegetic sound.
Like legit, you think it's the score first, but then it turns out it's like these motherfuckers in the water like doing this chant,
like
but
a
it's
mermaid
not,
siren.
Yeah, but it's not. It's horrifying because it's causing everyone on the deck to jump off the boat.
It's like hypnosis.
So like you just see like
it's not just them like
you just see, and it's fucking horrifying. It's just silence and then just like.
It was like that one Stephen
there's like
King
people
movie.
like just offing themselves off the boat. Basically,
it was horrifying.
Yeah. It's pretty intense. And then they get up on the boat and like they fucking drill this guy with a spear right through the chest and shit. And like they're fucking
terrifying.
Horrifying.
They're like climbing the side of the ship like Pirates of the Caribbean. Like fucking like it was amazing. And then like their design, their fucking voice changer. Or the transcriber was fucking sick because it literally sounded like the exact same voice changer from Man of Steel when fucking what's her name, I'm blanking, but like when she talks, that's exactly how they sounded, and it sounded fucking sick. I was like, this is the fucking coolest character, or just like not even character, like the coolest kind of like
the new race
intro of
like,
the new race.
Yeah.
It was so fucking cool. And like, don't even get me started on Namor. Namor was fucking sick too. But just like the introduction of the people and like what they use and how they weaponized like their like the water was fucking terrible.
Speaking of Namor, that's the second mutant name drop we've got in the MCU as of right now.
Yeah.
Get the first one in Miss Marvel, and he calls himself a mutant in this. So that's number 2.
I like how they went with the decision to make Namor the villain. Especially in the context of what's going on in the Marvel universe right now post Endgame, right? Because I mean, like Wakanda, like no one's standing up to Wakandans, right? Except for the Thalokans. You know what I mean? And
is that how you Thalokan?
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure in the books they are Atlanteans, but for the sake of like Aquaman, they switcherinied it up there.
To give Reese context too, so like the whole plot, the whole plot of this movie is that like America and the rest of the world thinks like Wakanda is like doing all this shit because nobody knows that the Thalokans exist,
and they have vibranium too down there.
Hold on though. Okay. No, what happens is that the Thalokans are introduced because I think it was the U.S.
is digging and looking for.
They
vibranium.
got a machine to mine vibranium because they found a patch at the bottom of the ocean.
That's how Ironheart is introduced.
Yes,
right?
because she's a university student that designed it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it starts out. They find first of all like it's a revelation because Wakandans like were under the impression that only vibranium exists and can be found on Wakanda. But it was found at the bottom of the ocean. So the U.S. is trying to mine it out, and then the Thalokans come and destroy an entire naval ship, right? They take it down. And they think it's the Wakandans, like the UN think it's the Wakandans, which obviously no one's heard of the Thalokans before.
Yeah.
So that's the catalyst that kind of sets everything off. The one thing I want to quickly mention that I really appreciated about this movie, too, is that they played around with a lot of interesting ideas. Like there are like aside from even what's going on with like Shuri and her arc, like they play a lot with the idea of like colonialism. You know what I mean? the idea of like in the Namor Shuri relationship, I think like kind of like the how do you say it, like kind of like a little bit of like misogyny they're kind of riffing on a little bit there, because Namor kind of takes Shuri down to the Thalokan, what I forget the name of the city, and like kind of like manipulates her into like getting him on her side. Sorry, getting her onto his side, knowing that she is the princess, right? Or she's like the next heir or whatever it is. So there's a little bit of that. I think it also plays around like with Shuri's character. It also plays around a little bit with religion. And that kind of ties into her arc. Bro, Shuri's arc in this movie, I think, is my favorite single character arc in the entire Marvel universe.
Damn.
Bro, she starts the movie after T'Challa dies in her lab, not being able to like tear herself away from her science, right?
Like fuck tradition, fuck religion. She refuses to take part in all like the Wakandan traditions and stuff. And like that's like she's like everything is science. Like she's like hard stuck in like her ways of like no, there's an answer for everything.
She's running away from. She's hiding from her grief, right?
Yeah.
And there's even a great moment where Angela Bassett takes her and like the funeral, the white funeral robe. It's Wakandan tradition to burn it, right? To signify that you're moving on. Angela Bassett does it. Shuri can't do it. This is the beginning of the movie, right?
True.
Towards the end, like, and then the whole arc, she's, has to kind of take up the mantle of Black Panther. And then at the end, like, she finally kind of, like, she kind of comes to the tradition side and embraces it.
But then it turns on her back, which is another fucking cool twist.
Which was a twist, too.
Yes. And then, like, by the end of the movie, she's able to burn it while she's meeting T'Challa's son in Haiti, right?
Right, yeah.
And it's just like, honestly, I was saying this to you over the phone, and this might be a little bit of a hot take. I'm going to get flamed by probably all the film boys, but like, I equate Shuri's arc to Michael Corleone's arc in the first Godfather.
I can't attest to that. I actually haven't seen The Godfather.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
well, I just mean like, Michael in The Godfather. Like, Godfather is an amazing movie. It's a masterpiece, whatever. Everyone always talks about that character arc that Michael has in the movie. He starts out not involved in the family business, and he's, like, he has like, his values and everything like that. And then something happens where his dad gets shot. He's forced to kind of take the mantle of the family. And then that story ends in tragedy because mob life, right? But like Shuri, after she realizes she's got to take up the mantle of Black Panther, she goes down like a vengeance like road, which is when she goes to the ancestral plane and sees Michael B. Jordan
Killmonger
instead of her mom or T'Challa, because she's not going down that road.
Why does she see that, though?
Because she's not going down that road. She's trying to kill Namor. Right?
So she sees whatever she's experiencing in the
exactly.
moment. Okay,
But she doesn't realize that that's happening. But it's significant for two reasons. It's like, one, she doesn't even believe that the plane exists.
Yeah.
So when she takes the herb, she's like, whatever, just fuck it. Like, they're like,
she was taking it for strength, not like
100%.
Yeah.
Because like she even says, like, I think the tradition in the first movie is like they buried T'Challa like in dirt while he took it. And, like, it was this whole like tradition they did.
It's like, a bastardization of the
100%. And they
tradition.
It's a synthetic
they even say that too.
flower.
They're like, oh, like she's like, no, like screw it, like just fucking give me it, and like if I go into cardiac arrest, bring me back, pretty much. And fucking like she goes in, and then like she finds out it's legit, and then B, she's expecting to see her mother or her brother, and then she sees fucking Killmonger, and you're like, shit, that's deep. But then she's not even realizing it. She's like, why the fuck am I seeing you? And he's like, you're following the same fucking path I did. Like you want to burn the world, like you even fucking said it.
He's there to call her bluff, basically. It's like, oh,
so
you want to do this?
But is he there because he like got past that, and now he's trying to warn her, or is he there to like be like, hey, follow the same path as me?
He's kind of antagonizing her.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, and then she fucking gets out of that, and she doesn't even know if it works. She gets up and she's all pissed off, and like everyone's like, oh, like who'd you see? And she won't tell them.
Even at the end of the movie, she never says who she saw.
But then she like punches like a mannequin that's there like into the wall, and like breaks into fucking 300 kilometers away.
Worked.
So they're all like, oh shit. But she's not really like villainistic. She's more so like low key about it, and you're like, okay, I wonder how it's
potentially an anti-hero, like Black
Heroes don't count.
I do. Okay, we get.
Yeah, Shuri turns around and be like, okay, they're like, okay, like you gotta be the hero now. She's like, I'm not a hero.
Yeah, was there a kid with a skateboard? It was Tony Hawk.
No, but there's a kid in an Iron Man suit.
I don't know what's worse.
Oh yeah,
same thing. Really.
We're gonna get to that. You guys have
the 800 millimeters.
That's a perfect fucking segue, honestly.
Sure.
So Riri Williams, she fucking designed the machine that can search for vibranium.
Great performance, by the way, in the movie.
Honestly, yeah.
She was awesome.
So the thing is, her introduction reminded me of Peter Parker's introduction in Civil War.
yeah.
Like, it gave me that
Yeah.
kind of vibe.
Okay.
Because it was like, let's go visit. It was like Shuri and...
Okoye.
Yeah, Okoye.
yeah.
Go show up at her university.
Great scenes, too.
Amazing
like, You know what I
scenes.
mean?
Like-
Not too much humor, but just enough. Like, you know.
100%. And, like, they go see her and shit. They explain what's going on. And then, like, it leads them to, like, this warehouse scene where she's like, well, okay, fuck. Like, sure, I'll come with you, basically. But, like, I got to go to my warehouse first. Like, that's her, like, workshop.
She doesn't want to though. Like they kind of force
Yeah.
her. Like
Yeah,
she's
it's,
either
it's
come
the
to
same,
Wakanda
same thing
or-
as Peter
yeah.
Parker, where he's like, I don't really want to
100%.
go, but
yeah. She goes to this warehouse and like she has like all these schematics and shit, and like they make reference to like, is this Stark tech? And she's like, she kind of doesn't answer that, so you can tell she's basing it off of those designs and shit.
How do you feel about that, Goody?
We'll discuss that.
I don't like the payoff of it.
Okay,
but
sorry. Yeah, I
makes
saw
sense.
Dan's face. He's just
Bro,
like,
listen, it makes sense in the context of the Marvel Universe. Iron Man's dead. Of course, people think about that have real life. Of
Okay,
course,
not-
Iron
I know,
Man's
I know,
dead.
I know.
It's not about that.
I know, I'm
There's
just saying.
something else in the movie that I will talk about, but let's finish talking about Ironheart first, and then I'll talk about.
okay,
my
why I brought that up is just because we've all agreed that it's like Tony Stark's after his death. We've all been like, okay,
we get it.
let's get over him, kind of like.
100%.
Anyways, continue. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
So, and like she has this like proto suit, and the FBI raid this thing while they're in it. There's this whole chase sequence. She gets away, and like
Iron Man 1-esque burst through the ceiling.
burst through the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then there's this like huge like chase sequence. Like they're all in a car and like they're fucking like they're gunning it. But then I keep calling them Atlanteans.
The Thalokans come.
Yeah, Thalokans come.
Okoye, like amazing. They knock out Shuri and Ironheart, right?
Yeah.
And it's just Okoye, and she's fighting
Sickest
off
fight
these
scene ever.
Thalokans. But it's a sick scene because like you know how fierce and powerful Okoye is, right? She's kicking the shit out of these Thalokans, but they keep like getting up. So then you realize that like okay, these are like you see the power level of like the Thalokans.
They're kind
And
of
then-
immortal. Like they use water to fucking heal, so she like kills four
And
of
she
them,
even-
and they get
yeah.
back up.
Yeah.
Like,
And she even says that too, like when they're debriefing after. She's like, I hit them with blows that should have killed them. They
Yeah.
got right back up like nothing happened.
Yeah. So it's sick. Like, and
Yeah.
they're menacing in that
Yeah.
scene. I was watching it. I was like, if they kill Okoye
Yeah,
right now,
I was
I was
expecting that,
expecting
but,
it
like,
though. Yeah.
bro, I thought they were gonna kill her off. I was
Right.
like, I hope they don't because like, she's such a great character, and she needs to be around. But like, I was like, oh my, like,
So you actually felt genuine fear. That
I
you
did.
were
I
gonna
did.
die.
That's what I
I
meant.
was
Like,
like,
in
holy
this
shit.
movie, the first time in a Marvel movie, I was like, "Holy fucking shit!"
actual stakes.
There's
Yeah.
like there's actual
didn't,
stakes in
but-
it, but it made me feel that way. I don't
to
usually
your
get
point,
the feeling. It's
yeah.
always just like, oh, you know, they're-
but to his point,
he didn't. But
to your point,
At least the feeling was there this
yeah,
time.
that's what I'm saying.
At least the feeling was there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To your point, like there's stakes in this movie,
Yes.
and you feel the
you do
stakes in
feel
that fight.
for sure.
Oh my god.
So I want to talk about like the aftermath of that scene, because another one of my favorite scenes in the movie and one of the most powerful scenes in the movie is that scene in the throne room when fucking the queen fires Okoye essentially, and she's like, "I have given everything." It's like they're having a screaming family match essentially.
Because they take Shuri and Ironheart down to the Thalokan city. So like
So-
they were there
They
to
captured
take Ironheart, but like they took
Yeah.
Shuri with them. So like, oh look at a
So the
fucking
queen
free
is
princess.
like,
Yeah, why
"You let
wouldn't
my
she?
daughter,
Yeah.
my only last family member," even though she like before this, the queen was like, "No, I don't want Shuri to go," but Okoye's like, "Let her go. It's good. It'll help her
Yeah.
like get over the death
So
of her
she's
brother."
pissed, yeah.
So she like not forces her, but she like convinces the queen to let her go.
Yeah.
And then she failed, and the queen's like, "You were my general, and you let my last of my family get
Demotes
taken."
the
and
shit out of her,
and
yeah.
she like basically fucking like rips her apart and's like, "You're fired. Like you're not a general anymore. Like turn in your spear or whatever."
Yeah.
Again, heartbreaking scene
Yeah,
because like
heartbreaking.
Okoye's performance is like
Incredible.
fucking amazing. Like she's like crying, but like she's trying not to in front of like the entire throne room, and it's fucking like oh, when she turns around and like walks out, I'm like, wow, this is
So-
intense.
So now we'll talk about my thing that drove me nuts is like they've established Okoye as this fucking fierce warrior, like proficient with a weapon, like can fucking fight under any circumstance, like against all odds, and she's a badass. Okay, and they're hinting at this movie that Shuri's building this suit, and like keep saying it's ugly or whatever, and it's like it's kind of in the background. You can see, oh, it's like whatever. It's a Stark-esque suit. So the payoff is okay. So the queen dies. Fucking Shuri becomes in command, but she doesn't make Okoye like the general again. She's like, "I have something for you instead," and it's like this blue fucking.
Samurai.
It's literally
shit.
looks like the Predator, like like with the fucking like the hair and everything, except with nanotech. So it's like we had the most fucking fierce warrior, get relegated to like the face cam
100%.
Tony Stark flying on a jetpack using fucking stun beams instead of like actually using a spear. And
So they set up like almost like a rematch. There's a Thloken on the bridge, which is basically the one that like beats her down to a point where like she's almost about to die.
Where
You're
you
like,
actually fear for her,
fuck,
yeah.
you feel for her life being taken. To me, it would have been much more powerful if she rose up from being demoted and shit on by literally her entire society, basically, for making that mistake, and end up like overcoming that barrier by herself and showing
without the
her
help
true
of-
strength
yeah.
without the help of some fucking suit. Like, it would have been way more powerful to me if she went to Shuri and Shuri was like, it's okay. Like, if it was me, like, I still would have made the decision to go. Like, you're always my general. Like,
Here's your
boost the
spear
fuck
back
back
or
up.
whatever, yeah.
Here's your fucking spear back. You're the head of the Dora.
Yeah.
Go fuck this guy up. And
Yeah.
then it would be way more impactful to me if they had another rematch on the bridge and she just ended up outsmarting him and fucking him up.
It's, like,
but
funny-
instead, it's like, here's my Predator Samurai Iron Man suit. I'm gonna land here and be
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm fucking back. It's like, sick. I don't care anymore because now you have a fucking giant assist.
Yeah.
I do care still because it was still like fine. And this
Yeah.
is
But then
why I
they
vote
did
you.
the fucking Tony
Well,
Stark face
well,
cam. If I fucking see the
yes,
Tony Stark
that
face cam,
is
she's like,
so
she's like,
overdone.
I'm coming in now to assist, and it's like supposed to be like, oh wow, I'm excited. Instead, I'm like, no, boo, fuck that, man, no. Why? It was like she's so fucking cool. Why would like that's not a power upgrade. That's a fucking demotion in my standards.
Yep.
Like it's like fuck. It's like really you're gonna give like the most powerful. You know they did that to Bruce Banner because he couldn't fight in Infinity War without
'cause
turning
they
into
made
Hulk. So they
made
threw
Hulk
him
a
in.
bitch.
They
Yeah,
threw him into fucking Veronica. It's like, here, make yourself useful, right? So they
Which
did the
is
same
hilarious
thing with her.
because they fucking shot the plates for the scene of him turning back into the Hulk for that part.
So it's like they take like again another badass warrior and they're like, oh, here, make yourself useful. Here's a fucking Iron Man. So she doesn't fucking need that.
But
dude.
again, like to me, this is another thing I was saying. It's like the studio can't help themselves by dipping into the third act of every movie. It's like,
Yeah.
here, let's give Ryan Coogler like literally the best script we've ever given anyone ever. Give them full
He'll have
creative control.
75%,
But
yeah.
we have to sell some toys. We have to get the fucking kids that are in there something to fucking look forward to. Like, wow, such a cool suit. Let's give it to the two characters that you were looking forward to seeing
Yeah.
a redeeming arc for.
Yeah, it's like instead of just using
And-
the character who already has a suit,
Yes.
which is Ironheart, like, oh, let's give another suit.
Yes.
It's like,
And,
what?
and don't get me wrong, the way it's written,
There was two
it
of them,
is
too.
redemption. Like I
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
what you're saying.
No, but
and it
okay.
does work on some level, but I just think it could have been better.
anything else
Yeah,
besides
if
no,
they
the
I
Star
know,
didn't
I
do that?
Now that you put it like
Yeah,
that,
just even give her armor.
Yeah,
Like,
just
out
give
the
her a new
suit.
suit.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't have to be Stark tech. That's
now,
all I'm
Exactly.
now,
saying.
now that you put it like that, I 100% see your point. And yeah, okay, I kind of agree. All right, my main thing was I don't care that Shuri developed the armor in the first place.
No.
Because I think that speaks to her character and her version of this particular Black Panther. Because like she is still integrating her scientific background to further the advances of Wakanda. But maybe they could have given it to other characters and
Here's-
would have let. So like I understand what
It
you're
could
saying.
literally be anything else.
And now
except
that
for
you
the
have
fucking-
clarified that,
Yes.
I'm okay with
I
that.
read a Reddit
Wow,
post.
look at this.
Okay?
This is what
Look at
happens.
this.
This
Wow.
is what F it up.
Communication.
Yeah, I
Talk
was
to
gonna say,
her.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, communication is key.
100%. And I read a Reddit post the other
Not
night.
politics. He's government guy.
It would have been much more effective, like Cootie said, if it was same kind of thing, like she's developing tech and you still get that like Shuri-esque gift to Okoye, if it was the same tech in the Panther suit, which is the absorption tech. So
Yes.
just armor, straight up just armor, so she can take hits, more hits without going down, and then you have that same discharge thing that the fucking Panther suits have. Having even just that, so she's still a physical fucking prowess.
And then it fits with
taking
the
this
theme
guy down.
already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then at least, yes, she's getting an assist, but it's a little bit of an edge. Like she's still taking hits from this guy, but it's not assisting her in fighting. Like she has the ability to fight and fuck this guy up, which we saw on the bridge. And it has that like impactfulness, but instead it's just like, okay, we've seen this tech, this makes more sense. It's a good upgrade for a warrior, but now it's just like, here's another fucking person in a flying suit.
Like fucking nanotech in the Marvel, like in the
It's so
MCU, has
overused.
become like the fucking like the fucking star power in Mario Kart, where you're just like literally fucking invincible.
Literally.
It's just like here's this fucking god mode assist, where it's just like, oh, it doesn't matter what happens, like you're gonna be fucking invincible because you have nanotech, star tech, fucking jetpacks, face cam. I'm coming to save the day, guys.
Yeah.
Literally
And then it's
face
like,
cam,
and it's
too,
like, it's not like
straight
it
up
was.
HUD shit,
It's not
yeah.
even like it was like, you know, a one-time kind of thing, because it ends with her going to fucking save Ross at the end of the movie in the fucking suit. So now it's like, this is her thing now. Like, she's not a Dora Milaje anymore. She's fucking
And they
whatever
call them
they
something.
fucking
What are
like the
they called?
fucking
Something angel.
night angel or something
Yeah.
like that. Anyways, that was like my main thing that like, in my opinion, we could talk about this now. It's like, I personally found like I was so invested the first half of the movie. Like the first 2 acts of the movie were fucking so strong and phenomenal. Characters, acting, script, everything. And then after the Queen's death was kind of where the movie started to fall apart for me. Because like me and you were talking about this. It's like they were trying to wrap up too much. And it's like everything was so strong. And then after the Queen died, they set up, I was expecting, and I knew this wasn't going to happen, but I was kind of hoping they would. They were expecting, especially like the dialogue between Namor and the Queen, and between Namor and Shuri, is like, he's like, I'm going to like destroy Wakanda, essentially. He's like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to invade. We have more soldiers than you have weeds of grass in fucking Wakanda. So you're like, holy shit, there's going to be like this big fucking war. I get why they didn't do it, but I was hoping there was going to be like, you know, kind of like a battle like in the streets of Wakanda. Like they kind of did it, but then they're like, oh, the end of the
We'll
movie
be
is just
back
like, the end of the movie is just
after
a
these
battle on a
messages.
fucking barge in the middle of the Atlantic with like 20 Wakandans versus like the fucking Thalokans climbing the side. There was like, it was just a dumb battle. It didn't really mean anything to me other than like, oh, here's the fucking
Big
Panther
third
swinging
act
in.
CG
Yeah.
fest.
It was just like there, and then it ends up with Namor and Shuri in the middle of a fucking desert and whatever, and it's like they're ice.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was fine, like it was cool, but it was like, again, we were so cool with the stakes and the dialogue and the threat that Namor delivered, and it's like, I get it, they were trying to ambush the Thalokans on their own turf, but it's like, it just kind of fell short for me that battle was like, I don't know, I kind of wish it was like in the streets of Wakanda or like on the Thalokan turf or something other than just like 20 Wakandans on a barge in the middle of the Atlantic. That, it was just like, okay, cool, fine.
And that's kind of to my point. Like, I thought that entire last battle sequence and like confrontation between Namor and Shuri was very rushed. So like, at least in my head, I thought for sure she was eventually going to have that arc of like, okay, she will see her mother or the brother on the ancestral plane, and that's what will be the trigger for her to be like, I gotta fucking relax. Which they do. And they set it up so that like, I thought, I don't even know if like you remember this specific thing, but like the screen flashes black twice at the end of that fight. It's almost like a like slipping out of consciousness thing, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is where it's gonna happen, because Shuri gets stabbed by Namor. Namor
Right.
fucking like pile drives this spear through her, and you're like, oh shit, and then the screen blinks twice to black,
Right. Yeah.
and then I thought it was gonna blink final time stay. She's in the ancestral plane. That's when she has this conversation dialogue with her mother. It's a touching moment.
Which would have been a good setup for that.
Yes. Instead, it doesn't cut to black after the two flashes to black. She pulls the spear out and then ends up flipping back over to him, burning him,
Yeah, Wakanda
Like-
forever, and then the ship
and then
explodes.
And then like
What?
he goes down, but he's not dead. And then you're like, okay. And then she's standing over BVS style, which again, I get your parallel to it 100%, and I agree with you. And it's basically like a Martha moment in BVS.
But instead of him, like, she's getting flashbacks. She's remembering T'Challa
Yeah.
and how noble he was,
100%.
and how like heroic he was, and it's not spoken, which I like.
Yes.
And she realizes this is not how he would have handled it, and then she
But-
uses that moment to bridge.
But
the
it's
two.
quick for me. So like,
See, I don't even think it's really quick though.
see, I do because
I do
the
just-
whole fucking sorry, let me just get this
yeah,
one
yeah,
point out.
Yeah.
The whole fucking time, everyone around her is like, your brother wouldn't want this. Your brother would never do this. Why would you do this? Don't think like this. You have everyone telling her this the whole time.
Sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Fair. But to me, to not have, you know, that moment of her like almost being killed and being like, what the fuck am I doing? Be that redemption moment fell short, because then she's standing over him. She has flashbacks of him for like 2 seconds, and then it's probably not even 20 seconds long of the mother in the ancestral plane now being like, Shuri, what are you doing? and then it cuts back and she's like, no. When you're like,
Okay.
And it's like it's also like really cool setup for like redemption too. Is because like she's like going down this path of vengeance, and she's literally wearing the Killmonger suit, which by the way is like a cool little touch too. So like she goes into like the
she's
Panther
wearing the
room.
yellow.
She's
like,
wearing the
gold.
yellow
Yeah.
suit, which is like really cool because it's like she's like, no, I'm not worthy of wearing T'Challa's suit.
She literally passes both. Like she passes the
purple,
which is
Civil
cool,
War
though.
helmet
I like
and
that,
the purple one, and then she goes to the Killmonger one. And she's like, I choose this one.
Yeah. Which is like, oh, okay, so she's like going down this path of vengeance. And it's like, oh, she's gonna have like this like turning moment, but it's like Ben said, it's just like, do not do that, Shuri. And she's like, okay. And then she doesn't, and then it's like,
it's not that bad.
No,
I know.
It's
I know you're
making it sound
generalizing it.
way
Yes.
worse than it is.
Here's the thing. It was good. I
was a
still
great-
came out
I-
and I was
it was a
like,
great
it was good.
Yeah,
It still hit me emotionally.
You're
but,
saying
like,
it could have been.
it just didn't hit me the way the rest of the movie did because it didn't have that impact to me.
It
I'm
just
sure,
didn't.
like,
It just didn't close as powerfully as it could have.
yes.
I think it would have been way more sick if, like, again, if that battle had taken place in Wakanda, and it's like, imagine like Shuri was like in the spot that like Namor had killed her mother, and like she's standing over the spot that like she would like hit her mom died and like was about to fucking get revenge, and then like she's having a flashback being like, my mother would have like how much more powerful, even just like in the same location or like I don't know, like
And then it would make sense for her to go to the ancestral plane at that point and see the mother being like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
like-
this is literally where you died."
yeah.
Like,
Like, I don't know. I think it's just because of the way the third act was constructed, that final moment just fell short.
Alex is gearing up for a huge
No,
rebuttal
no,
right
no.
now.
I'm honestly
Huge
not.
rebuttal.
No, like I do understand what you guys are saying.
It's nitpicking.
I disagree.
It truly is nitpicking.
I just disagree with what you. No, sorry. no. Like
Objectively
to
speaking.
me,
You have to get his glasses on for this one. You know what it is?
no, like to me, first of all, I liked that final fight. It was really centered on like those two, and it was. I don't think there was any music playing. Like it was pretty like intense, and it was like pretty like the way they're fighting was like it was pretty brutal. And I mean like she's been Black Panther for like less than 20 minutes, right? So like she doesn't really know. She's
legit
rough.
though, yeah.
She's rough around the edges, right? She doesn't really know how to fight. So like it wasn't as maybe dynamic as maybe you watching T'Challa fight. I understand what you're saying, but what you have wanted to see.
It wasn't as dynamic
But
as the
here's-
warehouse scene in BVS, so automatically
Somehow we had to see Zack Snyder in there.
that's all I was going to say.
Yeah, it's not
Me
a.
and Dan had this conversation before. Where Dan's like, "Can we just not bring up Snyder for one podcast?"
Well, no, because we got to talk about after we talk about this movie.
Can this be the opening clip? Can we not talk about that? That it cuts into a Black Panther?
It's like we have the same rant for half an hour of every podcast. Can we just talk about Wakanda Forever for like an hour?
No, but I mean, for me, what I thought about that sequence, I understand what you're saying. It would have been cool to see like her having a conversation with the mother on the ancestral plane, but at the same time, we see so many like Black Adam, like they fucking talked at you the entire movie, like on everything. So like I kind of appreciated how they kind of just. I mean, when you see the flashbacks of T'Challa, like you know what they're trying to say. And you know what she's thinking. They don't have to like. I didn't feel like I needed the mom to come out and be like, "Shuri, you shouldn't be doing this." You know that. You know what I mean? Like giving her a lecture. I thought it was.
With great power comes great
Yeah,
responsibility.
like I personally didn't need that in that fight. I understand what you're trying to say, but like at the same time, I don't really have any gripes with how that final fight was done. I definitely this might sound a little nitpicky, but the scenery in the last fight was not as gorgeous as the rest of the movie.
Yes.
Because I'm not kidding you, bro. Like every single frame of this movie,
Yeah.
aside from like anything like on that final fight in like the sea, fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's
The
beautifully
best shot in Marvel movie. I think, to
It's
date.
Really?
like like bro, I went back and rewatched the first one, and like the first one, like other than outside of T'Challa's performance and like just Chadwick Boseman being in the movie, like this movie is like I think superior in every way to the first one. It's such a huge
Like,
improvement.
night and day, yeah.
And the first Black Panther, I think you can chalk it up to the time it came out in, but everything is like very flat. Like the shots are very flat.
That was that era of Marvel where it
Yes.
was just like
until like the entire world started chirping them and like latching on to the idea that they don't color grade their movies. And, then they
And
were like,
again,
"We'll
I
change
feel
it."
I'm not trying to disrespect the first one in any way because I do really like. I know you have your problems with it. I really like the first one
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
as well. I really like the first one too, and like I don't want to come out. I don't
I have
want
my
to.
problems with it. Yeah, I hate it.
I don't want to. I don't want to come out and say like, oh, this is like so much better, and because I don't want to to disregard Chadwick Boseman's performance.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, just this movie is so much better crafted than the first one, and you could tell that they gave Ryan Coogler like 100% creative direction for 80% of the movie, right? So, you know, at this point, I've made peace
more
with
than
the
most.
fact that Marvel has to fucking, like, you know, put their hands in,
Yeah.
like, the third act or whatever.
They
But,
have to throw Gundam seed in the fucking...
Was there a sky beam or no?
No sky beam.
Thank God. Thank God.
There was a chest beam from Ironheart.
to me, though, it didn't take away
There was
from the
one
power
beam
of
in
the
there.
Was it a CGI fest?
Oh, for sure. That
Oh,
last part.
tremendous.
Okay, let's briefly touch on that for like 2 seconds,
What,
and
Ironheart?
then we'll continue. Yeah. So
We gotta talk about Neymar still. Oh my god.
no, fuck, there's so much. We're not talking about anything else this podcast because it's 100 o'clock
Except
right
for
now.
Zack Snyder, we got the last 15
Yeah.
minutes.
Well, we gotta talk about it. Never mind.
Chacon's winning a Emmy
Oh, yeah. Oh shit.
or nominated.
So okay, Ironheart. I like her purpose in the first 2 acts.
Yeah.
Okay. She's basically the MacGuffin of basically why like the 2 fucking civilizations go to war. Okay.
Nice.
They're
Good
like,
for her.
yeah. So no, because
But in a good way.
basically,
No,
yeah, the fucking. I'm not gonna remember their fucking name. The
The Locans.
Philokins, the theologians from the Bible.
Yes.
The Philosians from the DC universe.
Exactly.
Geonosians from
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Oh no. The gene wearing ocean masters. So
Geo's the
Gene
Rock.
Wilder.
Usually walking.
cousin of Wild E. Coyote. Okay, so fucking they want to kill the kid because they're like, she's the only one that can make this machine.
They didn't
that
want to
we know
lose the kid.
of. Exactly. They didn't want to lose the
lost the
kid.
kid.
Said exactly.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank God.
Thank you. I lost the kid, Cap.
See?
He goes around and says, you promised me I wasn't going to lose the kid.
Yeah. Anyway, they want to kill the kid. So then
On
it
skateboard
becomes,
or no?
Exactly.
Sorry, yeah, I'm done.
it becomes like this hot potato fest of like the Wakandans trying to be like, you can't. They're like, no, you can't kill her. And fucking Namor's like,
kill her.
yeah, we have to kill her. We have to kill her so she can't make the machine again.
The whole world hears her.
for
the whole
world is about to go to war with the Locan.
Everyone knows this somehow. 3,000
Guys,
years
we have to kill all these this army of skeletons that just came
Follow
in.
me on my skateboard. Tony Hawk comes around the corner.
Anyway, they set this
Yes.
up as like they're fucking. They want to kill the kid. The Wakanda's like, fuck you can't kill the kid. There's this whole fucking like debate back
Tug
and
of war,
forth,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden, Namor. There's literally a line where he's like, it doesn't even matter about the kid anymore. Now all that matters is fucking like you not siding with us, essentially. So then automatically, like she goes from like the MacGuffin to like shove her in the back of her workshop. You can go make a suit in the corner that we won't see until the 3rd act. And then it'll come out and it's the worst fucking design thing you've ever seen.
Is it
I
bad?
think she would have been better suited as like an Oracle role in the
Yes.
final fight.
Yes.
Right,
Because
but
the,
whatever.
the fucking kicker, and exactly what I was thinking.
Not the puncher.
No.
Okay, so for those who don't know what your reference of, like, oh, she should have been an Oracle role, like, what would you describe?
Well,
it as?
not to bring it back to the DC universe,
course you should.
but in the Bat family, like namely Batflex is the best ever.
created by Zack Snyder.
But Oracle is Commissioner Gordon's daughter, Barbara Gordon. She in like the old continuity, she's Batgirl. And then the Joker shoots her in the spine and handicaps her, right? So basically,
It's
she's
like short form. Like, what does she do?
Oh, sorry.
This is
She
supposed to be
sits in a
quick
chair and
offside of
provides information to everyone.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
the overseer.
Yeah.
Yes.
The guy in the
The
chair.
guy in the chair.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, the guy in the okay, yeah. So
She's the
guy in
Ned
chair.
Leeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, wait, she
the
should have been.
Cisco.
Sorry.
The
Yeah,
Cisco.
literally. Cisco Ramon of the... Okay.
The
Costco?
Flash. Yeah, great.
Costco. Anyway, I agree. She should have been in that role. But then you just get a hint of like, oh shit, they're allowing her to make something in Wakanda, and then it pays off in whatever she's in next.
And then also like her involvement brings in a story arc that's like completely like underdeveloped and just kind of left hanging. It was just like in for no reason, so they could have trimmed off like 20 minutes of the movie. But like her, obviously, because she's an American, then they bring in Ross, and then they have this whole storyline that Ross is like, remember in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Val at the very end is like like it turns out they were married. So then there's like this whole plot twist, and she like arrests Ross for like treasoning against America, but then like.
Which that's the one thread.
They never touched on that. It's like at the end of the
really
movie, he's like in handcuffs, and then Okoye comes in her fucking Iron Man suit and fucking saves him, and it's just like, and then that's it. But it's like that storyline was just kind of just.
It's just there to set up whatever the fuck else they're doing.
Yeah, so it was like
just like closing off the movie. It was like
But even like it's like sprinkled in randomly at beats in the movie. And
Yeah,
I'm
it's not
like,
even like the last scene. It's like just in there.
They could have
somewhere,
completely got rid of that entire arc of the movie, and nothing would have changed other than like maybe just like the involvement of Riri Williams and like America. But like they still could have had Riri Williams involved in the movie and not
because
had
I think
Ross
she's
and
vital
Val.
because she is the catalyst of the plot.
Yes.
There still could have been
movie,
like
so,
American like intervention and like the Department of Damage Control or whatever the fuck. They could have had like something that they're like, oh, the Americans want like fucking Riri back.
Yeah.
Right, but instead it's like they have this like arc that just doesn't pay off at all, and it's just kind of there. And it's like
The one thing I will say really quick, just so I can get this like thought off, the one thread that they didn't really tie up that kind of bothered me was the whole Namor is like, I'm going to attack the surface world because they're going to get vibranium soon, and the surface world is kind of in communication with like Wakanda a little bit, be like, yo, what the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on? But
that's
like
Ross's role.
Ross's role, but like in the final fight. Like the surface world is like not really in the equation. It's only like Wakandans and Thalokans. So that's the only thread that like they didn't really tie up because like the rest of the world isn't really a threat anymore. Like they were built out to be in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my only gripe. with the entire movie.
They were like, you better not tell the world of our existence or we'll fuck you up. But then they fuck each other up anyway. But then they still don't tell the rest of the world. So it's like.
Because they break Shuri and Ironheart out of the Thalokan city, and then that's when Namor turns on them.
Yeah,
I think just really quick, we should segue into
Namor's character,
one of the best parts of the movie. His unlike the Black Adam backstory flashbacks, his flashback and origin story that are shown in the movie, amazing. Like so well done, beautifully shot.
What's his deal? Like, how does he come?
They give it to you in bits and pieces too. It's not just like this fucking monologue of like back in fucking 680. Fucking,
it's basically like he's giving Shuri. He brings her down to the Thalokan city first, and he's giving Shuri a tour, and then just kind of like telling how it got there. So basically, he was like they were Aztecs, so they were like Mayans, right? And like I think a famine like wiped out like.
No, it was when like colonists brought in.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's right. That's right. When the colonists brought smallpox, so they retreated to the water, and he was the first like Aztec or Mayan or whatever born like underwater, so that's why he has like the wing like on.
But
his, like,
so to preface that though, like his
little...
mom, so like they like I think I might have misunderstood.
To try and cure the smallpox pandemic,
yes.
they find basically it's like a heart shaper, but it's like a different
variant.
Variant
an
of
underwater heart shaper.
No, it's like
above water, but
it's
because it's like near like
water.
It's near where the fucking vibranium landed in the water.
Yeah.
Like that's how the heart shaper
it gives them water abilities.
They gave it to the mom.
Well, it
While she
killed
was
them
pregnant.
at first,
Yeah.
but then they were like kind of like reborn. But then they were like
They were blue.
They couldn't breathe air.
Yeah.
So they all like they revive, but then they're like fuck. So then they all
forgot- oh
literally
my God.
literally retreat to the water.
Totally forgot about
Yeah.
that. Yes, you're right.
But
you're
like
right.
because his mom was pregnant with him when she took it, like he's like half.
So
human,
she was
half
pregnant
whatever,
when they were human, and then they took it and then became that. So he's like a hybrid split.
So he can be in the water.
It awakens
out of
his mutation, and that's why he calls himself a mutant, because he
Yeah.
literally has like fucking wings on his ankles and like fucking pointy ears.
Another
and, like,
really cool touch about the Thalokans that I really liked was that they're like blue above water, but then underwater they have
They're
like
normal.
Yeah,
normal
they're
skin
regular,
tone.
yeah,
so
cool.
it's like a cool thing. So
So
like
air
they're
reacts with them or something like that. Yeah, cool.
Exactly.
yeah, it was just a really nice.
So
little
well
touch,
done,
yeah.
beautifully shot. His motivations were very well painted in like those first couple of acts, and they're complicated. He's a complicated character because you can't really call him good or bad because he's afraid of the surface world. He's trying to protect the Lokans. He is like a bad guy. He's clearly trying to manipulate, like I was saying, he's trying to manipulate Shuri down there into forming like a treaty, and also still allowing him to kill this girl who built the vibranium miner, because he's like, the surface world can't get it, right?
Yeah.
Wakandans are more noble than that, so that's where they were like, butting heads. So it's a complicated sort of relationship, but you feel his motivations, which
Because he wants to protect his people. His,
Exactly.
like, his people
That's
is
his
his
main
priority, but his way of protecting his people is like, you're either with me or like I'm gonna fucking kill
you.
everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
yeah. So like we've spent so much time talking about everything else, but like
What's his power set though? Like,
Strength of the Hulk. You can
can fly.
fly. You can breathe underwater and above water without the mouth thing. So it's basically Aquaman, but with
Yeah.
flight.
he could probably
Yeah.
do like a few more things, but
But his weakness, they end up exploiting the weakness is that like they have to dehydrate. Well, this was another like kind of like thing that they don't really go into. They do, but they don't. It's like, so his weakness is like they have to suck the water out of him and dehydrate him.
Yeah.
So like at the end fight scene is like Shuri like traps him into her ship and she has like this dehydration room, but then like he instantly like
He
breaks through
instantly
it.
blows the
And then
fucking
that's how they
ship
end
up.
up on this fucking island, and
Yeah.
it's just a fucking fight between Shuri and.
And I thought it was cool how she like depowered him because she, like they're on like an island, so he's already getting dehydrated
'Cause of the
right?
desert, yeah.
And like she's drawing him further and further away from the water, right? And then like he stabs her with the spear, takes out, comes back, and basically like causes like an explosion, burns him to dehydrate him even more. So he's on the cusp of death, right? And he's like walking towards the water, like after she like has passed.
She also slices one of his fucking wings on his feet
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
too, which like fuck him up.
Yeah, but then like they make a treaty at the end, and like their civilizations will kind of coexist. But it's interesting how they leave the movie off because one of his citizens are basically like, why did you fucking concede to them? And then he was like, because we need them on our side. Because what's gonna happen eventually is we're gonna be at peace. If we need help, they'll help us. They need help, we'll help them. But the surface world is gonna turn on them, and then who are they gonna come running to? So like you shows his motivations are not pure still. So like
Yeah.
you
It's
know
like
what I
he's
mean?
just gonna hold Wakanda at like it's like, well,
Again, we did
a
you need
favor
us
for
or
you.
else we're gonna
Yes.
fucking kill you again. So it's
again
like, yeah.
manipulated Shuri.
Yeah.
Right. Which if there's future like Black Panther iterations and everything, she'll probably end up finding out, have to deal with that again. He'll probably show up again. M'Baku like wants to take the throne back. He kind of mentioned just like how he did in the first one towards the end of the movie and all that. And then movie ends in Haiti and she meets T'Challa's son and emotional as fuck.
Yeah, that was the second part.
So
It
emotional.
literally
We're
just
like
goes
fucking
through like a
choking up.
montage of like Chadwick footage, like of him with Shuri, and it's all unspoken footage too,
Yeah.
which is like I didn't realize they had that much of that
Yeah.
too. Like there's never like dialogue scenes that they're showing.
Yeah.
It's just like straight up like again silence. You just hear like the waves crashing because they're on a beach.
She's burning she comes to full fruition. She burned the traditional robes, so she's like having her story arc moment, and that's like she's crying and she's like remembering in a good way.
Yeah.
'Cause, like the whole thing was that she couldn't remember T'Challa in a positive way. It was just like haunting her, and so this was like her like reconciliation with the fact that he died.
Yeah.
And it's like subtly setting up T'Challa's son taking the throne eventually because he's gonna be next in line, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like it's a beautiful tribute.
Who also like they reveal that like he has a Haitian name, but then like his actual birth name is T'Challa. So
Yes.
like they're saying like
Yes.
it'll be
right.
And
Cool.
yeah, so anyways, I don't know. It's just it's emotional. It was like a beautiful tribute. I really appreciated how like T'Challa has cast a shadow on Wakanda in the movie, but like it doesn't stop them from everyone, going through their arcs, right? And their characters
Yeah.
changing. So like, his influence is always there and it aids them in what they're trying to do instead of just being like really hung up on like T'Challa's death and no one being able to do anything. Like his spirit was there and his memory was there to aid all the characters and like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I thought they couldn't have commemorated him better. Like it was perfect. Super happy with it. It is one of my favorite Marvel like movies
I
thus
agree.
far. I know we we have our little gripes or whatever,
Gundam
but
Seed
honestly,
aside, it was
when you go
pretty
see
good.
it,
Yeah, it's nitpicking.
yeah, it does not take away at all. I don't think from the power of the movie, and
Yeah, no,
it's.
I'm excited to see it.
It doesn't. It's just stupid as fuck when you see it and you're like,
Yeah.
why?
I would go so far as to say this is like a masterpiece by Ryan Coogler. Like so far, like incredible, love it,
Yeah, well, looking forward to seeing
absolutely
it.
love it.
Yeah.
Let us know what you guys think. But that's the thing. I don't understand all of like it's not been getting very good reviews. Like the reviews been really mediocre, and like this has.
But like
worse-
the first movie's revered, and I'm like, this movie is like
Way
eons better.
and
than
Wait,
people
in
and
every
bro,
way.
like Black Adam was shit, and people were reviewing that like like what the fuck?
Yeah.
What's happening? Like
What
you
a
got like.
confusing time.
It's
I
really
honestly,
fucked
I don't know what movies are
That's
good
like a
anymore. I'm
different
like,
time. Superhero cinema when critics and
yeah.
fans went at each other.
Oh, Henry Cavill is officially back, motherfuckers. James Gunn is the head of DCU. what the fuck? He's made some great movies in the past. We're really excited on what he has coming down the pipe. We're in great hands. Yeah, I can't wait for Mr. Terrific movie.
Yeah.
Nice, sick.
And
Unreal.
Jason Momoa as Lobo, probably, even though he's Aquaman still in this universe.
I mean, but like perfect as Lobo, but also like
universally.
Here's the thing:
Yeah.
cancel the whole fucking universe, start fresh. Bye. I don't want to see anyone else anymore. Then, if you're gonna do that,
Or
fuck
even-
Henry Cavill.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
me saying that. Fuck Henry
that's
Cavill.
what I've been saying,
Fuck
though. It's just like
Batfleck.
fucking scrap
Wipe
everything.
them all off the fucking table and fucking start over.
How about
for
this?
real.
That's how I feel with like
Finish
Daredevil.
Zack
shit.
Snyder's vision, then wipe it off.
How about this? If you're gonna wipe them all off the table, don't make another DC movie ever again, because I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
All right, guys.
Onomatopoeia as well.
Yeah. Go buy this book. Go buy this book. Go buy this book. All DC books. That's it.
Take care.
Bye.